Hello everybody, and welcome to another Game News Roundup where we discuss the latest gaming news, gaming sales, and gaming industry information. Today we are focusing on gaming sales, specifically the latest first-party release from PlayStation, Astro Bot, which came out on, I believe it was September 6th, on the PS5. We've gotten some charts have come out on Astro Bot. We're going to talk about some of the bigger charts, and we'll go to some of the smaller charts afterwards. Ones with actual little bit of data. So in the U.S., Executive Director and Video Game Industry Analyst at Circana, formerly NPD, better known as NPD, they changed their name, Matt Piscatella, so the guy who runs it, on his Bluesky account, because he closed his Twitter account. If you wonder, like, where did he go? He's on Bluesky and on Threads. He announced Astro Bot was the second best-selling game for the week ending September 7th in the U.S. When you combine physical and digital sales, NBA 2K25 was the best-selling game that week. However, I should remind you, NBA 2K25 also came out the same week as Astro Bot, and NBA obviously is one of the biggest sports in the US, and it's multi-platform. It is on PlayStation, Xbox, PC. I don't think it's on Switch. Feel free to correct me in the comment section down below. It's definitely on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC for sure. Those are more platforms. And obviously, NBA is almost always the best-selling game, or one of the best-selling games in its launch month, and usually one of the top 10, top 20 games selling game of every year in the U.S. specifically. And if you're wondering, as always, I am live streaming this on Twitch. If you want to check this out, twitch.tv/trunkswd. If you want to join in the chat live, and we've got Dave in chat. NBA Jam on Super Nintendo, only basketball game worth playing. Changed my mind. Well, I don't follow basketball. I grew up as a Yankee fan, a baseball fan, and even I don't play baseball games. So I personally don't do sports styles. So yeah, Astro Bot was the second best-selling game in its launch week in the U.S. For the week ending September 6th. Only behind NBA 2K25, which also launched that week. And also, the Astro Bot DualSense controller was the best-selling accessory in the first week, and Matt is saying that is a solid first week for Astro Bot. One thing about the type of game Astro Bot is, it's going to be a game about word of mouth, and usually platformer games have longer legs, so they sell for a longer period of time than other games, say like Spider-Man 2, or God of War Ragnarok, or whatever, other first-party titles. It is more like, if you look at, like, say, Nintendo games, they seem to sell for a long time, and Astro Bot, I have a feeling, is going to be maybe not the same sales level as, like, Mario Odyssey or Mario Kart or whatever, but generally, it's going to sell, it looks like it's selling decently well so far. So yeah, if you're wondering, is this game a hit or a bomb? It's definitely not a bomb. I wouldn't say it's a huge hit yet. We'll see how it sells through the holiday season, see when Sony hopefully gives us some sales data. I expect it to have good, decent legs and selling for a good, decent while, and obviously if it makes its way to PC, it'll also help boost sales as well. But so far, here we are in the US. Matt from Circana saying is a solid first week. And then the full report in September for the September data for Circana is not coming out till later on in October. Their August report actually doesn't even come out till the beginning of October, so that is a bit delayed. But I will be reporting in articles on VG Charts on all of that data when it becomes available. So yeah, that is in the U.S. Solid first week according to Circana's Matt Piscatella. Moving on, UK. It debuted in first place on the UK retail charts. These are specifically the retail charts, not including digital sales. But retail charts, it is the best-selling game in launch week. And then also other data here. This is retail, physical sales only, from Christopher Dring, head of games industry, who does have access to the charts in the UK. Specifically the numbers. Opening week for Astro Bot retail sales are about a third lower than 2021's Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. And he did add he expect a longer sales tail for Astro. And then he had a bit of a jab at Concord. It certainly sold more copies in the UK in just 2 days than Concord sold worldwide, which, as you know, Concord came out and then Sony immediately killed it because no one was playing it. No one bothered buying it. But yeah, that is specifically UK retail sales. A third lower than 2021's Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Retail. And then here you can see, which you know did debut in first, sales are a third lower at retail than Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart in 2021. But he did add some context here on Twitter. Let's just zoom in here, something easier. This is including digital sales. So Astro Bot UK launch sales, physical and digital sales combined. First week sales are 21% higher than the debut of Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart in 2020. So retail-wise, it was a third lower. But when you include digital, it is 21% higher. And Astro was the number two best-selling game last week behind Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, which is the UK's fastest-selling Warhammer game. Beating Total War, Warhammer 3. So yeah, Space Marine 2 has had I think, yeah, a decent launch pretty much around the world, especially on Steam, which is probably why you see Space Marine 2 being the best-selling game in the UK when you include digital sales. But yeah, so yeah, Astro Bot in the UK, retail and physical sales combined 20% higher than debut of Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. So, okay sales at launch, but I do agree with Christopher Dring that it's going to have a good tail, good legs, so to speak. And then he did add, to clarify, Astro Bot's UK sales are good. This isn't the sort of game that would ever do mega week 1 figures. These games often sell over time. To offer some comparison, here we go. Astro Bot's first week in the UK is bigger than Sonic Frontiers and Crash Bandicoot 4. And those games are multi-platform, while Astro Bot is only on the PlayStation 5. Moving on, a place where we actually have specific numbers, Japan, from Famitsu. Anyway, from Famitsu, for the week ending September 8th, so this is first week, or the first 3 days, the game came out September 6th, so on the 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then these are retail sales specifically. Astro Bot debuted in second place, was 12,672 units sold in Japan at retail. Which that was really the first bit of data that came out from Astro Bot, and that really is not that great per se, especially when you compare to other games. They've been out a lot longer. We'll see how the legs are over time, but mind you, this is retail sales only. But the majority of sales on PlayStation at this point are digital. So it's definitely sold more digitally, but I don't know how much more you would say. Maybe at most you're talking about 30 to 50,000 sales when you include digital in Japan in its first 3 days. But mind you, PlayStation isn't that big in Japan compared to other parts of the world. Nintendo dominates Japan, if you're wondering. Also to note, this week is the same week that Sony increased the price of the PS5 in Japan. So yeah, the specific week, you're talking about 67,000 Switches sold compared to just 11,000 PS5s and just 1,500 Series X and S consoles sold for that week in Japan, according to Famitsu sales figures. So yeah, decent start, not amazing to start in the US and the UK. Definitely not a very good start in Japan. I was expecting more out of it. I mean, the game looks like a lot of fun. I hope it sells really well enough that Sony greenlights a sequel or new games and whatnot from the developer. Although, mind you, this did not have a $300 million budget like God of War Ragnarok or Horizon Forbidden West had. This game had a much smaller budget. Shorter development time, much smaller team, so the budget is probably at most $100 million, probably less. So the game probably only needs to sell 2 or 3 million copies to break even, at most. While like God of War Ragnarok had to sell like 5 to 10 million copies to break even. Right, so moving on, Australian charts. NBA 2K25 actually debuted first in Australia, so I guess NBA is somewhat popular. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 debuted in second place in Australia, then Astro Bot debuted in third place. I'm fairly certain these charts here, Australia and the New Zealand charts, we'll get into in a second, include digital sales. At least some digital sales, because Nintendo never shares their own digital sales with these other tracking firms. So yeah, in Australia, it debuted in third place behind NBA and Warhammer. And then in New Zealand, it is pretty much the exact same. NBA in first, Warhammer in second, and Astro Bot in third place. But of course, these charts do not give any actual sales figures, so hard to say, because NBA and Warhammer could have had big launches, record-breaking launches for their franchises, and Astro Bot, you know. NBA is in the North. Yes, NBA is the National Basketball Association, and I'm pretty sure they're only in the. I don't even know if there's any teams in Canada. I think there might. I don't follow NBA. I think there might be U.S. solid. Maybe there's a team or two in Canada. I really don't know. I know in Major League Baseball, 29 of the teams are in the U.S., and then there's the Toronto Blue Jays in Canada. One team in Canada. And then there's hockey, NHL, which is like half the team. A good amount of teams in the U.S. and a good amount in Canada. But yeah. So yeah, Astro Bot in third place in New Zealand and Australia. And then in the Swiss charts, yes, specifically Switzerland charts, it debuted in first place. It beat Warhammer. And NBA, which obviously isn't that big in Europe, which debuted in 8th place. So yeah, Astro Bot beat Warhammer in Switzerland, debuting in first place with Warhammer in second place. And NBA debuting all the way down in 8th place. You can see the other charts. Star Wars Outlaws, another recent release in 3rd place. And then Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which, yeah, in 4th. EA Sports FC. Yeah, of course, those games are... FC, or formerly FIFA, almost always see them in the top 10 in a lot of these European charts. Minecraft in 6th. Mario Brothers Wonder in 7th, and et cetera, et cetera. And other charts here reported here on another website, Installbase. In Italy... Astro Bot debuted in first place in Italy. And you notice NBA 2K actually was in second place, but Warhammer all the way down in 7th place. So it really varies from country to country, even across Europe. So that is Italy. It debuted in first place. And then in Belgium, it also debuted in first place with NBA in second place and Warhammer in third place. And yes, and also coming out that week is the remaster of Age of Mythology, with Age of Mythology Retold coming out. But yeah, in Belgium in first place. And I believe that is it for the available charts where we have data on Astro Bot. So yeah, reporting on in the US, it debuted in second place behind NBA 2K25, which is not a surprise, as NBA is one of the biggest sports in the US and one of the best-selling games every year, the NBA 2K series. So yeah, debuting in second place is a good launch, as well as the Astro Bot DualSense controller being the best-selling accessory for the week. It debuted in first on the UK charts, which is quick, a quick reminder. Retail sales are a third lower than Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, but when you include digital sales, it's 21% higher than Rift Apart. And then launch sales for Astro Bot are bigger than Sonic Frontiers and Crash 4 in the UK. And then in Japan, it debuted in second place with 12,672 units sold at retail. It debuted in third place in Australia, third place in New Zealand, first place in Switzerland, first place in Belgium, and first place in Italy. Those are currently the available charts and data for us for Astro Bot. So make of it what you will. If you think the game was a hit or a bomb, I'm going to go with, I hate to say this, we need to wait and see. I think it's a good but not amazing launch for Astro Bot. If it has good legs, like I'm expecting and some other people are expecting, we'll see how it sells throughout the year. Hopefully it has decent sales. Because everyone's loving the game. Everyone's absolutely loving the game. People are saying it's on par with a Nintendo platform, which is saying a lot. Because Nintendo generally releases the best platformers, at least the best-selling platformers on the market. But yeah, I wanted to go over this on Astro Bot. Let me know in the comment section down below. Have you played Astro Bot? What do you think of it? Or do you consider the game a hit? A bomb? Or a decent sale so far? We need to wait and see how the legs are. Or the tail is. However you want to call it. How long are the legs? How long does it keep selling for being on launch? Some games, have big launches. And then sales crumble after the first week. Or some games have okay launches. But then they keep selling week after week after week, decent sales, and they stay decently high for months and potentially even years. So, anyways, if you enjoy this, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, we go over the latest gaming sales, gaming news, and gaming industry information. I do appreciate everyone who does watch my videos. So, yeah, and if you want to check out VGCharts.com for all of these links, they will be down below in the description. So, yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next time.